Ladies and gents, here is a perfect example of a high roll Reno game. Reno is a hero that typically lands you in last place or first place. You either find a really good minion you use your hero power on, or you just die. In this game, I'm able to find a brand early on. I build up a strong board, strong enough to stabilize, which provides me enough time to pop off with a triple brand and a Khadgar to have a turn with double-digit triples, and thus transition fully into Murlocs in a single turn. So let's jump in and take a look. You guys may be wondering on this first turn why take the demon. There's a few different reasons. The main one being is the fact that there's a Deathwing in the lobby. So if I face him on turn 2, having a 4 health minion typically means I'm going to trade with him and I won't take the L. But also there's that demon buff on Tavern 2. So you can actually apply that buff to this demon taunt, make it a 4/6, sell that, buy a second Tavern 2 minion, and have a pretty strong board state as you kind of transition into that phase of the game. Kind of annoying. I face Pyramid here on turn 2 and take 2 more damage, but what do you do? And then on this turn, I decide to buy the Rat and the Mech. I'm just basically taking the 2 strongest minions I can find. Not thrilled about it. Not the best choices of minions, but the fact that there's a Deathwing in the lobby, I find a Rat, makes me feel a little more comfortable. If I do face him, I'm going to have a pretty easy time in winning that, assuming that he does not himself have a Rat. Then just barely lose this fight to Edwin. Take another 2 damage. Luckily, he hasn't leveled yet, so it's not really a bad loss. And then from here, these selections, I mean, I just take the dragons. The other 2 selections you can't really do anything with. I don't feel like leveling and taking more damage, considering I've lost, more or less every single fight in the game. Interesting choice in minions here. Typically, I always take the pair. Pair good because triple. But here I decided to take the Zubat. So the Zubat on face value represents a 5/5 minion. So it'll be giving +1/+1 to both the Rat Pack and the Dragon on my board. But it's actually more stats than that, since the Rat Pack will now spawn an extra rat when it dies, essentially meaning the buff on the beast was actually a +2/+2, and the Dragon doubles its attack upon, attacking. So the buff on the dragon should represent a +2/+1. So overall, the Zubat effectively represents 7/6 in stats, which is a huge buff for one minion at this stage in the game. Close fight here, but easy win. We're stronger. Move on to the next fight. And will you looky here. Nice little triple. Now I'm facing Deathwing and I'm not too worried. I mean, I have a Rat. I also have a Khadgar, so it can summon multiple Death Rattles from the mech. I'm pretty confident heading into this fight, so I decided to just freeze the Zubat. Therefore, I can level up next turn and take a Tavern 5 minion to hopefully hero power. And obviously, what are we looking for here? Bran. So I'm off for the best 2 minions here, either the Bran or the Rivendare. I mean, if I had better Death Rattles, like if I had a spawn in a bomb, or even just a spawn, I may consider taking the Rivendare. But typically, triple Bran is insane, and you just want to grab the triple Bran, find some good minions to buff, start buffing away, build up a huge board. So if I remember correctly, I was pretty favored in this fight against Yogg. We end up tying. Whatever. Lucky Yogg. So from here, I'm really just focused on building a strong board state. But in the back of my mind, I'm also going to start looking for token minions. Since I'll be hero powering the brand, which will give my battle cries triple the effects, and I have a Khadgar, I'll get 2 triples for every single token minion I play. So from here, my mindset is build up a strong board, buy the token minions when I find them, level to 5, and then look for a good turn to pop off and start creating triples. And then I want to find macros and find megastores to attempt to pull off a full Murloc transition and hopefully get divine shields and poisons, and just from there destroy the lobby. Menagerie Magician is a great find here.
Not sure why I don't take the Murloc here. I can give it +6/+6 in stats and fill out my board, but I end up finding a token, so I guess it works out.
Nozdorm was pretty strong here. I end up losing the fight. Not terribly, but still take a decent amount of damage. So I'm a little bit nervous because I really don't have that strong of a board state. So I really need to start finding some good buff cards and start building things up to make sure that I can stabilize and try to actually execute the game plan that we just talked about. Egg, Anoia Module, Screwjang Clunker. Sure, why not? It'll give me a really big Divine Shield taunt to help build up my board, plus gives me a mech debuff moving forward. I spend my whole turn doing it, but I think it improves my board state enough that it's worth it.
Defensive systems online.
I still am not really finding many tokens. I find another one here, but I really want to have about 3 or 4 before I actually start to pop off. And then I freeze here, which in hindsight, I don't know if it's right. I really don't know if these buffs are worth it. The reason that I'm doing it is because there's 2 buffs. I can sell one and still level next turn, which is eventually what I do. But at the same time, these aren't like really strong buffs that I'm freezing for. It ends up working out, but I really don't know if this is the right play here.
I'll make sure these will stick around for next time. Love the pressure. I didn't like that one either. Here's a goal for this one. Nice seal.
So now I'm starting to get a little bit nervous. I see Shutterwalk's board state, and he's got a bunch of Murlocs with a bunch of Divine Shields up. So all he has to do is find some poisons, level 6, find a macro, and he's got a pretty unbeatable board. So I'm starting to feel the squeeze, feel a little bit of pressure. So I need to make my move soon. On this next buy phase, I find a Murzon, which is good. I find another triple, which is good. The Murzon is good because it gives me a bunch of Murlocs, and I actually find a Zap from it too. And it's actually a net gain in economy, a net gain in gold overall. So I'm able to play that card to get more money back than actually buying it, which is always good in these cases.
Defensive systems online. A good tactical choice.
And this is the turn that I decide to make the transition. I utilize the exploit here, and for those of you that don't know about it, you can exit out of the game just before the combat starts and then load back in, and it skips the fight animation, giving you a lot more time on your buy phase. And then you'll notice as we log back in, I'm actually down to 2 health, so I lost that fight. I was actually lucky to live there. So now I want to roll and find essentially one of 3 things. I'm looking for token minions, Bagurgle, and Primal Fin. After that, I want to then sell off my entire board except for the Brian and the Khadgar and start the triple frenzy. I've done this a bunch of times in the past, and I always think that I have more time than I do. So kids, if you attempt this at home, remember to go fast. You don't have as much time as you think. Fast and efficient, make triples, find Megasaurs and Macros, and move on. Don't spend too much time thinking about what tier 6 to grab. If it isn't one of those two, just grab one and keep going. Let the fun begin. So there are a bunch of mistakes that I make during this. I'm making triples and then rolling, but there's 2 times that I don't sell the Alley Cat and Tidehunters back into the pool before rolling. I mean, not a huge mistake, but a mistake nonetheless. But more important, a big mistake I make is not monitoring my hand size. So you'll notice on the last Alley Cat I play, I have 9 cards in hand, and the max cards you can have in your hand is 10, so I missed the second triple that is created. A small mistake like those can end up costing you on turns like these where you need to be highly efficient. Luckily here it didn't. I end up going a bit too slow at the end and don't have my board positioned correctly. I should have the Mackerel out front and the Megasaur in the back next to the Taunted Brand. But still, I accomplished my main goal and I get a board full of Divine Shield Murlocs. And then from here, it's time to smash these noobs. And y'all get strong here. Double Mackerels, that's a scary thing. I mean, you can literally just keep running your minions into their Divine Shields over and over again and having them keep getting resets and lose the fight. Luckily, that didn't happen here. I was able to win the fight, but moving forward, I'm still not 100% sure if this is my lobby to win. So there's a few things that I'll be doing. I'll be looking for Primal Fins. I'll be looking for Bagurgles, but I'm also just going to level this next turn to start to look for another Mackerel and start to look for another Megasaur. So those kind of 4 cards are the main thing moving forward that I'm really looking for. I'm probably not going to take any other Murloc buffs. I really just want to find another Mackerel and probably an Argus to taunt the one Divine Shield Mackerel that I have, get a bunch of Divine Shields, and you know that's essentially the best win condition of the game at this moment. Shudder strong. Lots of big Murlocs, but you know, not strong enough. I've got Mackerel, I've got Divine Shields, I've got Poison, so ends up being a pretty easy win for me.
Your goodness. Everyone's gunning for you. Watch out.
We fight Yogg again. Nasdorm was running a beast build, so I'm confident if I can beat Yogg here that I'll win the lobby. The issue is that there's always an X% chance that you can lose when your opponent has double macro, but Yogg takes it a step further and tries to get a little cheeky and add in an unstable ghoul to knock all of my divine shields, but it proves to be not enough. I get a good snipe on the macro and take him down.
Nice work out there. Keep up the pressure.
And then look at this Murazon. I get Bagurgle, Macro, Bagurgle. And then look at the board that's currently on Bob's Tavern. There's a Toxfin from a macro. There's also an Argus, so I can taunt my original macro with Divine Shield. Plus, I picked up the Bronze Warden, so I'll have a board completely full of Divine Shields with Poisonous, and then I'll be able to basically steamroll any type of beast composition that Nasdormu has.
You've got this. You're way ahead.
So this was just a really good example of a game, high rolling with Reno, where on 9 gold, I triple, I find a brand, I hero power it, and then I do a full Murloc transition mid to late game. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.